Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into the book of Nehemiah,
Oh, yeah, Nehemiah.
focusing on those first 3 chapters.
Really interesting stuff.
Where we meet this guy
Yeah.
living in exile who gets word that his hometown Jerusalem is basically in ruins.
Total devastation.
And what's so cool about this story is
Yeah.
it seems simple at first.
Right.
Just some guy who wants to rebuild some walls.
Right.
But it's actually full of these profound lessons
Oh, yeah.
about leadership and faith and community.
Absolutely. And, it's not just about, bricks and mortar or anything.
Right.
It's about rebuilding a sense of hope,
Yeah,
a sense of identity,
totally.
belonging.
Okay, so let's set the stage here.
Okay.
5th century BC,
Okay.
Nehemiah is serving as cupbearer to King Artaxerxes
Whoa, now hold on.
in Susa.
Cupbearer. That's a pretty big deal, right?
Yeah, this wasn't just like some serving job.
Not at all.
This was one of the most trusted positions in the entire kingdom.
I mean, imagine being responsible for tasting the king's wine,
Oh, yeah.
making sure it wasn't poisoned.
Oh, yeah.
You had to be incredibly close to the king to have that job.
Yeah.
You're in the inner circle.
Yeah.
Big secrets.
So that's what makes the risk that he takes later even more crazy.
Right.
But before we get to that,
Yep.
let's talk about the news that just throws his whole comfortable life upside down.
Okay.
His brother Hanani comes back from Jerusalem
Oh, boy.
with this update about the city,
Yeah.
which had been destroyed decades earlier,
Completely destroyed.
and the people were sent into exile.
It's really important to remember the historical context here.
Oh, yeah.
Jerusalem wasn't just a city for the Jewish people.
Right,
This was the heart of their faith,
right.
their cultural identity, the place where their temple stood.
Yeah.
So to have that destroyed was devastating. Such a blow.
Yeah.
A symbol of their exile and just the disruption of their entire way of life.
So when Nehemiah hears about this,
Yeah.
the state of the city,
Yeah.
the broken down walls,
Mm-hmm.
he is absolutely devastated.
Understandably so.
He spends days in mourning and fasting and praying.
Yeah.
And you can just feel how deeply he's affected by this.
Oh, absolutely.
This isn't just about some buildings for him.
No.
This is about the shattering of his people's hopes.
Yeah.
The desecration of what they held sacred.
Yeah, and his prayer.
Yeah.
It's not just some cry for help either. It's like this masterpiece of strategic communication with God,
Right.
He starts off by acknowledging his people's sins,
Okay.
their role in what happened.
Yeah.
And then he reminds God of his promises
Oh, that's good.
to restore them.
Yeah.
He blends confession with this confident appeal.
Wow.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that
Definitely.
even when we're facing what seem like impossible challenges,
Mm-hmm.
we should look inward
Yeah.
and, appeal to a higher purpose.
Yeah. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It makes you think about how you approach your own problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Will
Do
it?
you just complain?
Yeah.
Or do you kind of
Right.
seek guidance and look inward?
Yeah. Do you remind yourself of what gives you hope?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to Nehemiah,
Okay.
he knows he has to do something,
Right.
but he's really strategic about it.
Yeah.
Chapter 2 opens with this scene that must have been just terrifying for him.
Okay.
He's visibly sad while serving the king,
Oh, no.
which could have been seen as disloyalty,
Oh, right. Yeah.
or even like a sign that he was plotting against the king.
Yeah.
Like maybe he should have called in sick that day.
Right.
But this is where Nehemiah's courage
Yeah.
and his understanding of human nature really comes through.
Okay.
The king is intrigued by Nehemiah's sadness
Yeah.
and asks him what's wrong.
Okay.
And this gives Nehemiah the chance to share his desire to rebuild Jerusalem.
Wow.
And get this, the king doesn't just say okay.
Yeah.
He gives him resources, safe passage,
What?
and even letters to make sure he gets support from officials along the way.
I mean, talk about a well-timed request.
Right.
It's incredible.
And what's even more remarkable is that
Yeah.
even with all this royal support,
Mm.
Nehemiah doesn't just rush off to Jerusalem and start bossing people around.
He's a planner.
He knows that planning and preparation are important.
Very smart.
So he does something that sounds like it's out of a spy novel.
Oh, okay.
He conducts this secret nighttime inspection of the city.
What?
Yeah. Under the cover of darkness, he checks out the damage,
Wow.
maps out the walls, and starts coming up with a plan.
That's so smart.
This is a key takeaway for anyone
Yeah.
who's dealing with a big challenge.
Yeah.
Don't just jump in without thinking.
Exactly.
Take some time
Right.
to gather information and make a plan.
Absolutely. You might not have to do it at night,
Right.
but the principle's the same.
Exactly. So after he lays the groundwork,
Yeah.
he calls the people of Jerusalem together and gives them this incredible speech.
Yeah.
He says,
Yeah.
the God of heaven will give us success.
Wow.
We, his servants, will start rebuilding.
What a powerful statement.
It's such a great rallying cry.
Yeah.
It's not just about the physical rebuilding.
No.
It's about their shared faith,
Right.
their belief in a future where Jerusalem is their home again.
It's amazing how a few words can really inspire people to act.
Totally.
And they responded enthusiastically, too.
Oh, yeah.
In chapter 3, we see the rebuilding effort.
Yeah.
Super organized.
It's like a well-oiled machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Different families and groups
Yeah.
take on different sections of the wall,
Yeah.
working together towards this common goal.
I love that.
And there's this detail that always gets me.
Oh, wait.
Each group worked on the section closest to their home.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
But it makes sense.
Right.
Like, you're going to be more invested if the project affects you
Yeah.
directly.
Totally.
You ever notice that?
Oh, all the time.
Like at work or even just cleaning your house.
Mhm.
The stuff that affects you directly,
Yeah.
you put more effort into it.
Oh, for sure.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It creates a sense of ownership and pride.
Absolutely.
They weren't just rebuilding a city wall.
Right.
They were rebuilding their own neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Their own sense of security and belonging.
It's powerful stuff. You can just see how quickly things are moving along in these first few chapters.
Yeah.
The momentum is amazing.
Yeah.
The energy.
Totally.
But as we see a lot,
Yeah.
success attracts attention.
Right.
Not all of it good.
Oh.
Here come the antagonists.
Yeah.
Sanballat the Horonite,
Sanballat.
Tobiah the Ammonite,
Okay.
and Geshem the Arab.
Geshem?
These are all powerful figures in the region.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not exactly thrilled about what's happening in Jerusalem.
Not at all.
And the way they show their opposition,
Mhm.
it takes different forms.
Yeah.
First, there's like the psychological warfare. They make fun of the Jews, try to undermine their confidence.
What do they say?
Stuff
Yeah.
like, what are these feeble Jews doing?
Oh, wow.
Do they think they can rebuild with rubble?
They're really trying to get under their skin.
Absolutely.
Wow.
It's a classic tactic.
Yeah.
You try to make your opponent feel small,
Right.
insignificant.
Make them doubt themselves before they even start.
Exactly.
You think that works today?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we see it all the time.
Right.
Online bullying,
Mhm.
negative comments.
Yeah, people trying to tear each other down.
It can be so discouraging,
Yeah.
even for strong people.
Yeah, words have power.
That's true.
And these guys knew how to use them
Wow.
to cause fear and sow discord.
But Nehemiah, how does he handle this?
Well, he doesn't let it stop him.
No.
He refuses to let their words derail the project.
Good for him.
He basically tells them to get lost.
Does he really?
Well, he's a bit more eloquent than that. He says, the God of heaven will give us success.
Wow.
We, his servants, will start rebuilding. But as for you,
Yeah.
you have no share in Jerusalem or any claim or historic right to it.
He is not backing down.
Not one bit.
But they don't give up that easily, do they?
No. Their tactics get worse.
Oh,
They
yeah.
go from mockery
Yeah.
to threats,
That's it.
threats of violence.
Oh, wow.
They even plot to attack the city.
To stop the work.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They try to trick Nehemiah. They invite him to this meeting,
Or,
pretending they want to negotiate,
right.
but they're actually planning to hurt him.
That is so messed up.
It is.
How do you even know when someone is being genuine?
Right.
When they say they want to talk,
It's tough.
but are really trying to manipulate you?
Yeah. It's a challenge we still deal with today.
Totally.
In our personal lives and, even in international relations.
Yeah.
But Nehemiah, he's smart.
Yeah.
He sees through their lies
Good for him.
and refuses to meet.
What does he say?
He says he's too busy working for God
Wow.
to get distracted by their schemes.
He could have fallen for that trap so easily.
Right.
That takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, it's like a reminder to trust your gut.
Right?
Don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
Even when it's uncomfortable.
Exactly. And it's not just about avoiding danger.
Right.
It's about staying focused
Exactly.
on what matters most.
Mm-hmm. It's so easy to get distracted.
Yeah.
To lose sight of your goals.
Totally.
But Nehemiah, he reminds us
Yeah.
to stay focused.
Yeah.
It's the most courageous thing you can do sometimes.
So he's dealing with all of this pressure from outside,
Right.
but then he has problems from inside the community too.
Yeah. In chapter 5,
Okay.
this internal conflict pops up.
Okay.
Some of the wealthier Jews
Yeah.
are taking advantage of their own people,
Oh, no.
charging crazy interest rates on loans,
Oh.
forcing some into debt slavery.
That's awful.
It's a reminder that even when people are working towards the same goal, there can still be injustice, inequality that needs to be addressed.
It's like the opposite of what they're trying to accomplish.
Right.
How can you rebuild a society if you're exploiting your own people?
It's a hard question.
But Nehemiah doesn't shy away from it.
No, he confronts those in power.
Confront
Even
that.
though it's risky,
Yeah.
he calls out their greed.
Yeah.
And reminds them of their covenant with God,
Right.
which calls for justice.
And compassion.
Exactly.
He's not just building.
Right.
He's pushing for social change at the same time.
He gets it.
Yeah.
True leadership isn't just about achieving goals.
Right.
It's about standing up for what's right,
Mm-hmm.
even when it's hard.
Even when it's unpopular.
Yeah.
So they've got all this going on, but they keep going.
Yeah.
It's amazing how resilient they are.
And they finish the wall.
They do.
Imagine that feeling.
No.
The sense of accomplishment, the pride.
And unity.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a testament to the power of vision and perseverance.
It is.
And just working together.
Yeah.
But like you said, this is just the first step.
Right.
Yeah.
The wall protects them.
Mm-hmm.
It gives them boundaries.
Right.
But what about the spiritual and social fabric of the city?
Yeah, that's what I'm curious about.
Right.
What happens once the physical structure's in place?
That's the real challenge.
Okay, so we're back. And the wall is finished.
It's up.
Jerusalem has that sense of security again.
Yeah.
But as we've been saying, this story is about so much more than just building a wall.
It really is.
It's about bringing a community back to life.
Like revitalizing the heart of the city.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, so the walls, they provide that structure.
Right. The boundaries, the protection.
But it's what happens inside the walls
Exactly.
that makes a community.
The people, their values, their
Argument,
traditions.
their story.
Yeah.
Where does Nehemiah even begin with that?
Mhm.
Seems even harder than building the actual wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's strategic about this, too.
Okay.
He realizes something's missing in Jerusalem.
What's that?
The Levites.
The Levites.
Yeah.
Who are they?
So in ancient Israel, the Levites,
Yeah.
they were the tribe dedicated to religious service.
Okay.
Like they were in charge of the temple.
Okay.
They taught the law,
Okay.
led worship,
Right.
preserved the traditions.
So without them, there's like this spiritual void.
Exactly like a church without a pastor.
Yeah.
Or a school without any teachers.
Okay, so Nehemiah knows this needs to be fixed
Absolutely.
if Jerusalem is really going to thrive.
So he gathers Levites from all over
Okay.
and brings them back to the city.
I bet that was an emotional moment.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like a homecoming.
Yeah, not just for them,
Right.
but for the whole community.
It's like they're welcoming back a part of themselves.
Yeah, it reminds us that rebuilding isn't just about creating something new.
Right.
It's about reclaiming what's been lost, honoring traditions that have helped people get through hard times.
So it brings back the Levites.
Yeah, and that's not all.
What else?
He also brings back the Feast of Tabernacles.
The Feast of Tabernacles?
Yeah.
Now, I think I remember this. It's that festival celebrating the journey through the wilderness
You got it.
after they escaped Egypt.
Yeah, this wasn't just some random party.
Yeah.
It was super symbolic.
Okay.
They'd build these temporary shelters
Oh, yeah.
out of branches and leaves
Wait, wait.
to remember how their ancestors lived in the wilderness.
Okay.
You know, relying on God.
So it's a way of connecting with their history,
Exactly, their origins.
but also like a joyous occasion.
Oh, for sure.
A celebration of how far they've come.
Yeah, it's about gratitude, resilience,
Yeah.
faith.
And after years of exile and hardship, this must have been an amazing experience
Oh, yeah.
to celebrate together like this.
It's like Nehemiah saying,
Yeah.
look how far we've come. We rebuilt the walls. We brought back the Levites. Let's remember who we are and the God who helped us get here.
I love that image.
Mm-hmm.
The city rebuilt,
Yeah.
the people together,
Yeah.
celebrating under those shelters.
You can feel the sense of renewal.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And this was a really smart move by Nehemiah.
Okay.
He understood that real change, it doesn't just happen because of laws and structures.
Yeah.
It happens through these shared experiences, rituals and celebrations that bring people together.
Make them remember what's important.
Yeah.
But I'm sure not everyone was happy with all these changes.
Oh, of course not.
Change can be hard.
Right. Even when it's good for you.
So were there people who resisted?
Absolutely. Some people always cling to what's familiar.
Right.
They see change as the threat.
Even when things aren't working anymore?
Yeah.
So what did Nehemiah do about those people?
Well, he was actually pretty patient.
Okay.
He didn't punish them or anything. He just explained why these changes were important.
Okay.
He appealed to their sense of duty.
Right.
Their shared history.
He wanted them to understand.
Exactly.
He wasn't forcing them.
He was inviting them
to be part of this renewal.
Yeah.
So did it work?
Well, the book ends on a hopeful note.
Okay.
The walls are strong.
Yeah.
The people are connected to their faith.
Mm-hmm.
The city's coming back to life.
It's proof that when people work together,
Yeah.
amazing things can happen.
With a good leader to guide them.
But it's not a fairy tale ending, is it?
Of course not.
There's always more work to do.
Rebuilding a city.
Yeah.
A community.
Our own lives.
It never really
It
ends.
takes constant effort.
Right. We have to be willing to adapt.
And face challenges.
Nehemiah reminds us.
Yeah.
Building something strong.
Yeah.
It takes more than just getting started.
Right.
We have to keep caring, keep learning, keep growing.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I'm really struck by how relevant this story is.
I know, me too.
We're not rebuilding city walls.
Right.
But we all face challenges.
We do.
And those challenges, they need resilience.
Yeah.
They need strategic thinking.
And faith.
We have to believe in something bigger than ourselves.
Absolutely.
And that's what's so powerful about this story.
It makes us think about the walls in our own lives.
Yeah.
That need rebuilding.
Broken relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a loss of faith.
Or even bigger things.
Right.
Injustices. Division.
Disconnection.
It can feel overwhelming.
It can.
But we don't have to do it all at once.
Right.
Just small steps.
Yeah.
Listening, learning.
Reaching out.
Working together.
And we can all be like Nehemiah.
Mm-hmm.
Finding what needs fixing.
Yeah.
And taking those first steps.
Even if they're small.
Towards a better future.
That's it.
So we'll leave you with this question.
Okay.
What walls in your life
are
calling out to be rebuilt?
What will you do about it?
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
See you next time.